Hello, my dear ones. I hope you're making it another great day. Well, Grandma wants to tell you a story, or read you a story, actually. This one is called Peter Pan. There was a place, a faraway place, where the sun always shone, the sky was always blue, and no one ever grew old. Wouldn't it be nice to not have to worry about getting old? This place was called Neverland, and it was where Peter Pan and Tinker Bell lived. Have you heard of Peter Pan and Tinker Bell before? Not so very far away in the city of London lived John, Wendy, and Michael Darling. Every night they would gather in the nursery to hear Wendy tell wonderful tales of Peter Pan's adventures with friendly Indians and nasty pirates in Neverland. They have a big sister to tell them stories. One night, when Wendy was telling John and Michael a favorite Peter Pan story, Nana, their Saint Bernard, started barking outside in the yard. Not a moment later, Peter Pan appeared with Tinker Bell. "I came to find my shadow," said Peter Pan. "Nana took it from me the other night as I was secretly listening to your stories." Nana was their dog who was protecting them and guarding them. "Here it is," said Wendy. John and Michael looked on in amazement as she sewed it back onto Peter's body. Have you ever seen anyone sew a shadow back on? I'm so glad we saw you tonight, Peter," Wendy said. "You see, tonight's my last night in the nursery because tomorrow I have to grow up." Can you imagine one day from the next, from living in the nursery with the little kids to suddenly you're grown up and treated like an adult? "But that means no more stories," cried Peter, "unless I take you all back to Neverland with me." Ooh, you think they could go to Neverland with Peter? Wendy, John, and Michael couldn't believe their ears. "That would be wonderful," they shouted. Peter Pan sprinkled some of Tinker Bell's pixie dust over the children and told them to think happy thoughts. "Now you can fly," said Peter. Suddenly they were all soaring through the skies of London, heading directly toward Neverland. See them up there in the sky? They're flying because of the pixie dust, and thinking happy thoughts made them fly. Wow. Down below, they saw golden rainbows and blue waterfalls and mermaids singing in a lagoon. It was the most beautiful place they had ever seen. There were beaches and deep forests. Of course, there was an Indian camp. Yes, this indeed was Neverland. "This way," called Peter Pan, as Wendy, John, and Michael landed in one of the forests. He led them to the secret underground home where he lived with his good friends, the Lost Boys. See all these boys that live there with Peter Pan? They never grow up because they never get old, so they stay boys forever. John and Michael played with the boys while Peter and Wendy went to visit the beautiful mermaids in the lagoon. See all those pretty mermaids? That would appeal more to the girls. It was there that Peter Pan spied the Indian chief's daughter, Tiger Lily, tied up in the boat of the evil Captain Hook. You see over here, Captain Hook, Indian princess. Peter and Wendy could overhear the pirate demanding, "Tell me the hiding place of Peter Pan." But Tiger Lily wouldn't tell. Peter Pan's hiding place was secret. "I have to save her," Peter told Wendy. They flew off together to Skull Rock, where Captain Hook had taken Tiger Lily. There, Peter challenged Captain Hook to a thrilling duel. Peter was so quick and brave that at last the nasty pirate landed in the water, only to be chased back to his ship by a ferocious crocodile. Peter rescued Tiger Lily and returned her to her father, the chief. That was a pretty exciting duel. But Captain Hook was very angry. "That cursed Peter Pan! I shall have my revenge against him once and for all," he cried. He captured Tinker Bell and forced her to show him where Peter Pan lived. Then he caged her in a lantern. You see that lantern that Tinker Bell is caged in? Captain Hook forced her to tell where Peter Pan lived. As Captain Hook's band of pirates approached Peter Pan's home, the Darlings and the Lost Boys were coming up from underground. One by one, they were captured and taken to the pirate ship. They're all tied up. They're getting Wendy too. They're capturing them and taking them to the pirate ship. "Peter Pan will save us," Wendy bravely said. Captain Hook roared with wicked laughter. "Peter Pan will never be able to save you," he shouted. "You will walk the plank." See that plank that she's having to walk? No one noticed as Tinker Bell escaped from the lantern. She flew as fast as she could to alert Peter Pan. Once Tinker Bell reached Peter Pan, he raced out to sea to rescue his friends. "I've come to stop you once and for all," Captain Hook cried Peter Pan. "This time you've gone too far." And after another fierce duel, Peter Pan threw Hook and all the pirates overboard. Hook was chased away by the crocodile, and nobody cared to save him. Nobody wanted to save the wicked Captain Hook. You think the crocodile could catch him and eat him? Maybe. "Thank you ever so much for rescuing us, Peter," said Wendy. "We would love to stay in Neverland a while longer, but it's getting late, and I think it's time for us to leave." John and Michael nodded in agreement. It was time for them to go home. They had enjoyed playing at Neverland long enough. It was time to go home. "Well, if that's the case," said Peter, "we sail tonight." Once again, Peter Pan sprinkled Tinker Bell's pixie dust over everyone and Captain Hook's pirate ship. It was suddenly sailing through the skies of Neverland, heading back to the Darlings' home in London. Have you ever looked up into the sky and seen a pirate ship sailing through the sky? If you did, maybe it was Captain Hook's ship with Peter Pan and Tinker Bell. But before Peter Pan and Tinker Bell started off for Neverland, they made Wendy, John, and Michael promise never to forget them. And they never did. See, they're waving goodbye as Peter Pan and Tinker Bell sail off to Neverland, where they never have to grow up. But Wendy is going to be growing up the next day, and it won't be long before John and Michael grow up too. Just like all of us, we all grow up. Well, Grandma hopes you've enjoyed this story. I used to read it to my kids when they were young. It's a fun story to imagine, and thinking that you can go to some place where you never have to grow up and just play all day. Remember, Grandma loves you.